Jalen Lashley, and thank you for joining me for this PSA on this lovely Tuesday night. So, this is for my college students, and I'm going to speak about us, for us, from personal experience. So, college. For some of you older, those days will live in infamy as the most wild, fun, and crazy times of your life. For us experiencing it, it's a time of reaching independence, finally breaking away from your parents, turning into a young adult, becoming responsible, building lifelong friendships, and even lifelong relationships. It's a fun time in their lives, and it's a scary time, but we'll look back on these days and never forget them. But remember, we are also going to school, so there's the education side. And as you know, the workload can be strenuous. There's the stress of due dates, assignments, projects, midterms, finals, studying, all those under that umbrella. But what we really don't speak about often enough is those effects and what they do to college students like myself. One thing I would like to get into is stress. You stress about assignments, you stress about tutoring, you stress about studying, you stress about passing. Imagine you do all the work and at the end of the semester you have a 95, an A, perfect. That's all you ever wanted, right? And if you fail your final exam, you will fail the class and you get no credit for the semester. So you just paid for no reason. That's a lot to deal with. And most of us college students are broke. We don't have money. So if we don't pay for those classes, that's a wasted loan or wasted FAFSA, and that's less for the next year. Another thing is anxiety. You get nervous about tests. There's even a thing called testing anxiety, especially when these exams are worth so much and can make or break you after you've done so much work. Eating habits are another thing. Like I said before, a lot of us don't have a lot of money if our parents aren't providing, and if our tuition's paid for, it's paid for by FAFSA or loans or from our parents directly. And we don't have things accessible that we normally would back at home. And I know some students are on university, some are 24/7 working students, and some are completely online. Each situation is different. But I can say not a lot of us have money or the time to work. So after studying and being up so late and not sleeping, you go to eat at 10:30 or 11 p.m., and the only thing that's open is run-of-the-mill fast food places or your processed food like ramen noodles. We don't have the utilities to be able to cook, and some campuses don't allow hot plates, so you have to make do. And that also adds into another point I wanted to make: terrible eating habits. Because of the strenuous schedule, you don't always eat on time. If you don't have the money and you need it to come from someone or somewhere, you may have to wait because maybe your parents are busy at work or something is going on, or maybe they don't have it. So you have to stretch meals, make things last. And that is hard. And then all the while balancing being away from your family, everything you've known, and being on your own, and still having to perform well in school. Another thing is substance abuse. Some students rely on Adderall to stay focused. Maybe you had a late night study session and crash and are almost late to a class. You're falling asleep, but you can't stay focused. You crush up a bunch of Adderalls and take them, and now you're dependent on it to get through school. Red Bulls, maybe oxycodone, a bunch of different things students use to get through. That's not a healthy way of dealing with stress and anxiety from the workload of school. You have a bunch of assignments, and maybe you have a problem with a girlfriend, or maybe a fallout with a friend, or maybe issues with a professor, or maybe just something with family. Anything can happen. That's just life. And you still have to do your work, but to get through it, to even feel good to be able to do it, you maybe have to rely on a substance, and that's not healthy. And awareness needs to be raised for us college students. Now, here's my ways to combat it. My number one way would be to start with eating. You can't be right outside if you're not right within, as the wise words from Lauryn Hill. So, watch what you put in your body. After a late night study session, when you reach for your ramen noodles or your canned food, whenever you are able to go to the store, pick up a few fruits. Pick up some oranges, pick up some bananas, maybe pick up a few things that you can use to make yourself a salad. There's different and little things that you can do to improve your eating habits so you don't always have to eat the gunk, which ends up costing more money in the long run, and it's just overall better for your health. Poor preparation leads to poor performance. Great preparation leads to perfect performance. And that's what we all want. You ever heard of Michael Jordan being 6-0 in the finals? Well, I want to be 5-0 with an A+ on all my exams. But I can't do that if I'm not eating well. And what else adds into eating well? Sleeping well. Again, you can't perform well without a good night's rest. How are you going to be able to focus? How are you going to be able to study? How are you going to be able to retain topics if you can't even stay up for it? You need to take time to give yourself some rest so you can be able to perform better the next day. And one other thing is give yourself a break. Most of us are between 17 and 24 years old. We need to give ourselves a break. This is time where we still don't have major responsibilities. We should be hanging out with girlfriends, hanging out with friends, traveling when we can, going to concerts, going to different campus events, get involved with the community, have a life outside of school. If all your life is school, you're going to experience burnt out, stress, and lack of motivation. Take times to do things that you like, whatever makes you feel at peace. Find yours in. We're all trying to find our niche here. And that has been my PSA. Thank you for listening. I hope this brings some light to what we struggle with as budding adults in the world, but starting off in college. This is Jalen Lashley with my PSA. Thank you and have a great night.